All right, hot damn. Time for an update here. Got a lot done since the last time we had a video. As you can see, we got this big monster beam sitting in there. That thing was pretty heavy, but we had like 4 dudes to do it. So got that in there. Probably didn't see last time, but since then I got all this cut out. This was the old floor system. I had to cut it all out to make room for the new beams. You can see here this wall is like a temporary wall just behind the beam, and then you can see the 2x4s running up to support the roof temporarily. What'll end up happening is we will be supporting the roof off of that beam, so we'll put some new 2x6 boards from the roof trusses down to the top of the beam, and so we'll get some direct support for the roof right there. And then we'll be hanging for the new floor system, as opposed to the 2x4 that they had running. We're actually going to put these in place. This is a 2x6 LVL. This is an engineered wood product, an 1 3/4 thick instead of 1 1/2, like a regular 2x6. And these are about, I don't know, twice, maybe 3 times as strong as a normal dug for 2x6. So we'll be hanging those off the face of the beam, and then those will go across to eventually another beam that will be right there, but obviously it's not in yet. Let's go to the other side of the house, maybe a little bit better of an example because I got both the beams in. So I've got one beam on this side, one beam on that side, and then I actually started doing some framing for the interior walls as well, and we'll go over that in a second. But so we'll hang, again, same thing on the beam. We'll support the roof right on top of the beam, and then the face of the beam, right on the bottom, I'll put some hangers, and we'll hang that 2x6 LVL, run it across to the top of this bearing wall right there, and then it'll hang on the face of that beam over there. All engineered by yours truly. Those beams are probably way bigger than they need to be, but I don't care. We're only going to do this one time, and this house is going to be a lot more sturdy and solid than it was. So let's kind of walk through some of this interior framing that I've got done. So starting here, this doorway here is going to be the entrance to our master bedroom. And then this whole room right here is the master, and that wall is just temporary. That'll come out. So, you know, we don't have as much room to work with as we would like, but it's still going to be about 14 by 14 or 14 and a half by 14, something like that. Obviously, we'll do some new windows, and they'll be bigger. And like on this wall, they'll be kind of up high, those long skinny windows. Because the bed will go against that wall, so they'll be up above the bed frame. So then this wall, this doorway walks into the master bath, and the vanity will sit right here against this wall. Right beside it will be the tub. Angie has to have a bathtub. Right here is going to be a shower, and then right here, this is our walk-in closet. Not very big, but hey, like I said, we don't have that much space, so we're just doing the best to work with what we got. So walk-in closet there. And then this is also a temporary wall. Same thing, built behind the beam so that it will support the roof temporarily. But that will go away, and where I got this 45-degree angle, basically the toilet will be almost right where this temporary wall is, actually a little over that way. So can't do the rest of that framing because this temporary wall is in the way. But moving to the outside wall, I started taking off a lot of this old Doug fir sheeting, and it's the same stuff. It's tongue and groove Doug fir, that the same stuff they were using for the subfloor. Again, they didn't have engineered wood products back then, so this is how they did it. But now that we do have engineered wood products, I'm going to be replacing all that stuff. Since I've got to frame in new doors and windows, might as well replace the sheeting. And we're going to use 10-foot pieces of OSB and shear nail everything, and it's going to be way stronger than this was. Because just like the floor, you can see it's like, you know, split, and there's bug holes. That's all been eaten away by something. You know, this stuff just deteriorates over the years, and it just gets weak and cracked, and it's no good anymore. So in this here, they had like, this house has been through a few remodels, and they had like, this was a doorway that they just framed over, and you know, they had like some lights and outlets and stuff in this outside wall. So obviously all that's going to get fixed. But yeah, so making quite a bit of progress. This is the fun part because, you know, all the work that we're doing actually looks like we're doing work, which is really neat. So we'll go outside here, and you can see the outside, how I've got a lot of the siding taken off this wall. And again, we'll be replacing all that sheeting and doing new windows, and actually that window will go away. It'll be a bigger one, kind of move over a little bit. Got a new sliding glass door the other day, picked this up. This thing is monster. The one that's in there right now is like 5 feet wide, and this is 8 feet wide. So it's freaking huge, almost twice as big. So eventually that will go in place where the slider is right now. It'll just be way bigger. All right, another note about the shear wall. I don't know if you remember, but in some earlier videos, we actually put some brackets, some Simpson brackets on the inside of the crawl space, but we bolted the top to this bottom plate right here, and then we put the other end, bolted it to the foundation. Now that was to help with the shear wall. And all these exterior walls are going to be shear walls, and basically what that means is this wall here, the shear supports it this way. And so it's going to be strength for this outside wall, and then the outside wall on the other side of the house. And then the outside walls will also be shear, and they will be strength for this back wall. So shear would be like this, not force straight down, but shear like this, like twisting force almost. So what we do is we've got the sheeting nailed to that bottom plate. So you can see every 6 inches, we got it nailed in. And then that bottom plate is secured to the foundation with those Simpson brackets again. And then we'll pick up the top plate. This is a 10-foot piece of OSB, and it goes all the way up to the very top of the double top plate. And so we shear nail all the way down. And so you can see here, they've got this old tongue and groove siding, and really they only brought it down to, let's see if I can get a good shot. They only brought it down to like the bottom of the interior wall. They didn't pick up any other shear off of the 2x10 or the 6x6 here, or even down to this. So they missed a whole lot of opportunity for a lot of strength in building these walls. So we're gonna fix that too. And so honestly, this one piece right here on the corner is probably stronger than the rest of this 3/4 tongue and groove that's holding this wall together. So, and I don't know if anybody's an engineer, check my math on that, but I'm pretty sure that would be the case. Definitely by the time I get a second piece on right next to it, then it's going to be really, really, really strong. So anyway, that's a shear wall. Another thing that I did that was really cool is my buddy Gavin. He works for Simpson, and he hooked me up with all this stuff. And these are actually truss screws. It's pretty cool. Instead of using like a truss bracket, they've got these 6-inch screws, which are freaking huge. But basically, you just screw, there's one in there right there, but you can screw all the way through the top plate and get to the bottom of the truss, and that secures the truss to the wall. And as you can see, there was nothing there before, and so adding these screws to those trusses is really gonna add a lot of strength. So we're making this thing strong. It's not gonna fall down. I mean, it hasn't fallen down yet, but we're gonna build it so it won't fall down for, I don't know, another 100 years, or maybe an earthquake, or some other natural disaster. I don't know. Let's talk real quick about load transfer. Okay, as you can see, I got a big stack of studs right there, and those are going right down to the subfloor. And you go all the way up, and that's what's supporting the ends of both of these beams. Anytime you're doing anything that's considered bearing, weight bearing, you need to have a clear path all the way to the foundation. So in this case, there's no foundation in the middle of the house. So what I did is I knew I was going to be supporting the end of these two beams right there. And so what I did is below this, I poured a monster footing. It's about 24 by 24 by probably 20 inches deep. It's huge, with high strength concrete. And then I did the 6x6 posts, the same ones that hold the beams up under the floor. I did those up right to the bottom of these. And so underneath that subfloor, I've got two big 6x6s that go down to a huge concrete pad. So we actually have bearing all the way down to a quote unquote foundation. On this side, same thing. We've got the end of the beam, and it's supported by these four studs that will go right down to the outside foundation. So before, we didn't have, the roof was held up by 2x4s that were right, basically where the temporary ones are, and they came down to the 2x4s that were the ceiling of the kitchen or the upstairs floor, and then there was nothing underneath. So there was no clear path from supporting the roof that went all the way down to the foundation. So that's why we did all that. And yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. That's a huge stack of studs, but you know what? It's what we got to do. Another update. Let's see. I did end up buying a mini excavator a couple weeks ago. It's not perfect. It's got a few hours on it. I think 4,000 hours, but came with two buckets, small digging bucket and a big cleanup bucket, and it's got a hydraulic thumb on it. And it needs a little bit of work, but nothing major. I've already dug out a couple of stumps with it and done a little bit of cleanup work. It'll work perfect for what we're doing here. So, and who knows, maybe I might be able to do a little work on the weekends or something and make a few bucks. I don't know. Still have the razor for sale. If anybody wants to buy a razor, let me know. I gotta replenish the bank account after buying that Mini X. So, no new wildlife sightings. Haven't seen Carl and Gus since the last video, unfortunately. I don't know if they're gone or what's going on, but anyway, that's it. See you next time. Thanks.